Hello students, we have gathered here for the online classes. After a long break, we are again going to start with our class 12 syllabus. Before we went for this break, the corona break, we had finished one chapter of class 12, and that is chemical thermodynamics and energetics. Now we are going to start with another chapter, and the name of the chapter is solid state. We'll be dealing this in different parts, 7 to 8 parts. We'll do the numericals when we meet, but the theoretical part will be dealt here. Now we all know that there are three physical states of matter, gas, liquid and solid, out of which we have already studied the gas and the liquid phase in 11th standard when we did the states of matter and properties related to surface tension and all in the different chapters of adsorption. This time we are going to study the solids, and in solids we have been learning the definition of solids from the 8th standard or the 7th standard, different, and the definition that we have learned till now is solids have fixed composition, fixed mass, fixed volume, shape and density. आपको सबको पता है कि solids जो हैं they are hard, they are incompressible, that means they cannot be compressed, and they are rigid. They are hard and rigid because the intermolecular forces of attraction between the constituent particles in solid is very strong. And depending on the intermolecular forces of attraction, the melting point of solids are different. Intermolecular forces of attractions are weak, the melting point is less, and vice versa. Now, classification of solids. There are two types of solids, the crystalline solids and the amorphous solids. We'll see them one by one in detail. First, we'll see the crystalline solids. Now, crystalline solid means crystal. We have seen the crystals. We have seen a copper sulfate crystal. We have seen the sodium chloride crystal. They are homogeneous solids. First, let me show you the shape of it first. The crystalline solids looks like that. Here, it is in the form of a cube. Now, in the cube form, you find atoms arranged in the cube. You all must have used a Rubik cube when you were young, or you must be playing with the Rubik cube now also. Now, if you look at the Rubik cube, the unit cells in 3 dimension, that looks like a Rubik cube. And the Rubik cube are made up of small cubes, and that small cube is called as a unit cell. If you repeat the unit cell on all the 3 axes, that is the x-axis, y-axis and the z-axis, you get a cube. And the shape of that cube is similar to that of the unit cell. So crystalline solids are rigid and they are long range order. And the crystalline solids have atoms, molecules or ions, and they are present in specific positions. Now, the corners of this, now this is a unit cell. In a crystalline solid, the unit cell goes on repeating in all the 3 directions. Now, at the corners of this cube, we have points, and these points are called as a lattice points. And on these lattice points, suppose crystalline solids are made up of what? They are made up of either atoms, molecules or ions. And where are they occupied? They are occupied on the lattice points. Now, this lattice points, at the lattice points, you will have either the atoms, the molecules or the ions. In the previous figure, I have shown this figure. This figure is of NaCl. This figure is of NaCl. Now, NaCl consists of Na plus and Cl minus. So, if you look here, it is consisting of Na plus ions and it is also consisting of the Cl minus ions. Now, in crystalline solid, in this particular cube, you will have atoms of Na plus and you will have atoms of Cl minus. On the lattice point here, we have, this is the lattice point, that is the corner of a cube. So, here we are having the Cl minus ions. Now, this will have different arrangements of atoms and ions inside the cube. different unit cells repeating in a different pattern. We'll learn about all this as we proceed for this chapter. But this is how all the atoms, now here they are Na plus and Cl minus. Instead of that, you can have different atoms, different molecules here forming a solid. So crystalline solids are because of ionic bonds, covalent bonds, hydrogen bonds, or the van der Waals forces of attraction. The total intermolecular forces of attraction is maximum, and hence they are solids, and hence they have high melting points. You have read all about the intermolecular forces in your 11th class. You have read about the ionic bonds, the covalent bonds, and the hydrogen bonds and the van der Waals forces. So I'll not explain them here now. Now going to different types of crystalline solids, isomorphous solids and the polymorphous solids. The isomorphous solids, two or more substances having the same crystal structure. That means if you take an example of NaCl and KCl, now they will have the same crystal structure, for example, a cube, because in NaCl and KCl, the atomic ratio is 1:1. In the same way, NaF and MgO, they are having an atomic ratio of 1:1, so they will have the same crystal structure. Hence, they are called as isomorphous. Now, the second example that we have is NaNO3 and CaCO3. Here also, the atomic ratio is 1:1:3. Sodium and calcium 1, nitrogen carbon 1, and oxygen in both are 3. So the ratio is 1:1:3. The second type of solids here is the polymorphous. Now the polymorphous solids are from the one single substance. Isomorphous में क्या था? दो अलग substance थे पर उनका crystal structure अलग था. Polymorphous में क्या है? Substance एक है but they form different types of, they crystallize into different types. For example, carbon, it will crystallize into diamond, it will crystallize into a graphite form, and it will crystallize into a Fullerene form. So these polymorphic forms are also called as allotropes. So allotropes हमने पहले पढ़ा है, तो allotropes are nothing but the polymorphic forms. Now the crystalline solids have a basic property of high melting points. The melting point is high because the intermolecular forces of attractions are very strong. The other physical properties are refractive index, electrical conductance, and the dielectric constant. Now, these physical properties in a crystalline solids will vary. Now, I'll tell you why it will vary. Now, here, if you look at this diagram, suppose it looks like that NaCl crystal. Now here the larger ones are the larger ones, let us say, is Cl minus, and the smaller are the Na plus. Okay, so this is Na plus ions. Now let's see the first property. The first property is the refractive index. You all know what is a refractive index. When a ray of light passes from a less denser medium to a more denser medium, the ray of light will get deviated or refracted towards the normal. And the ratio between the sin I and sin R gives you the refractive index. Now, suppose the ray of light is falling here. Now, these are the bigger ions. The refractive index will be different because the this part of the crystal will be more dense. And if the ray of light falls on sodium, which is smaller than chlorine, then here also the refractive index will be different because they have a smaller size of atoms. So different directions will give you different refractive index. Same will be the case with the next property, that is the electrical conductance. So as we go down this line, we'll have a different electrical conductance. If we go down this line, we'll have a different electrical conductance because the atoms the ions are different. If we go along the line CD, we'll have a different value of electrical conductance. So such a property or such an ability of a material to be directly dependent is called as, it is dependent on direction. All the properties are dependent on the direction. So such is called as the anisotropy. Okay, the properties of an anisotropic material changes along the axis. So anisotropy in crystal is what? It is due to the different arrangement of particles along different directions. Have you understood? So they show different properties in different direction. So refractive index, then the electrical conductance and the dielectric constant, they all vary with the different directions in the crystal. Okay. Have you understood what is anisotropy? Good. Now we finished with the crystalline solid. Now amorphous solids. We'll come to the classification of crystalline solids afterwards. First, let me tell you what is an amorphous solid. Now amorphous solids, these substances appear like solids, but they are not crystalline in structure. They don't have a definite shape and a definite size. And whenever it grows, it does not grow in the same definite shape. For example, I'm just giving you an example of amorphous solids. They are tar, glass, plastic, rubber, and butter. So as you increase the temperature, the tar will melt, the plastic will melt, the rubber will melt, it will become fluidy, the butter will melt. So at lower temperatures, they look like solids. At higher temperatures, they change the state. And hence they are called as a supercooled liquids or pseudo solids. They appear to look like solids, but they are not solids. And they're also called as supercooled liquids. Now, if you look at glass, I'm giving you an example of glass. A glass pane in your window. आप glass को अगर देखते हो गर्मियों के कारण जब टेम्परेचर बढ़ता है तो ग्लास खिड़की जो है आपकी नीचे के साइड में वो मोटी होगी क्योंकि ग्लास पिघल के नीचे आ जाती है तो ये ऐसे दिखता नहीं है बट इफ यू गो घर में अगर आप देखते हो तो विंडो पेन जो नीचे की है वो ज्यादा मोटी है ऊपर की पतली है and that is because glass is also a supercooled liquid. Now physical properties, they do not change with direction. जैसे क्रिस्टलाइन सॉलिड में रिफ्रैक्टिव इंडेक्स बदलता था, इलेक्ट्रिकल कंडक्टेंस बदलता था डायरेक्शन बदलने से और डाइलेक्ट्रिक कांस्टेंट बदलता था. तो अमॉर्फस सॉलिड में ऐसे कुछ नहीं होता. नाउ आपको दिखाने के लिए डिफरेंस क्रिस्टलाइन और अमॉर्फस कैसे रहते हैं. क्रिस्टलाइन सॉलिड्स जो हैं दे आर प्रॉपर्ली अरेंज्ड, उनकी जो अरेंजमेंट है वो प्रॉपर रहती है. अमॉर्फस सॉलिड की अरेंजमेंट प्रॉपर नहीं रहती है. यही कारण है कि दे हैव डिफरेंट फिजिकल प्रॉपर्टीज. दे आर नॉट सॉलिड्स, दे आर कॉल्ड एज स्यूडो सॉलिड्स. अब मैंने ग्लास कहा था, ग्लास अमॉर्फस है. अब ग्लास के अलग अलग प्रकार हैं, पायरैक्स, सोडा लाइम, रेड ग्लास, येलो ग्लास, ब्लू ग्लास एंड ग्रीन ग्लास. अब मैंने इसके अलग अलग कॉम्पोजिशंस दिए हुए हैं तो ये इम्पोर्टेंट है सबके कॉम्पोजिशंस और परसेंटेज क्योंकि ये MHCT में MCQ में पूछे जाते हैं. So you'll have to learn this. Now coming to the classification of crystalline solids, there are 4 types of crystalline solids: ionic, covalent, metallic and molecular. तो एक एक करके हम देखेंगे. पहले हम देखेंगे ionic solids. अब ionic solids मैंने पहले वाले डायग्राम में NaCl आपको दिखा दिया था. तो ये वाला जो डायग्राम है आप सोचो ये नेगेटिव जो है वो क्लोरीन है और पॉजिटिव जो है वो Na+ है. तो ये जो लैटिस पॉइंट्स हैं ये भी दिखाया था मैंने आपको यूनिट सेल में. एक क्यूब के कॉर्नर्स को हम लैटिस पॉइंट्स कहते हैं एंड ऑन द लैटिस पॉइंट्स दे आर ऑक्यूपाइड बाय ईदर एटम कैटायंस और अनायंस. They are held together. Cation and ion है, negatively charged and positively charged. So the ionic crystal will be held together by the electrostatic attraction. Now ionic crystals are hard, brittle, and they have a high melting point. They are poor conductors of heat and electricity, or they conduct electricity only in fused and aqueous state. मैंने पहले भी कहा था आपको क्लास में कि NaCl in its fused or the molten state or in the aqueous state will conduct electricity. Now shear force distorts the crystal. इसका मतलब ये डायग्राम में मैंने दिखाया है. So if you apply force on it, अगर आप हथौड़ा मारते हो, अगर बहुत बड़ा क्रिस्टल है. In the ionic crystal, on the application of the shear force, there is a distortion of the crystal, or the crystal is broken into small pieces. For example, if you take an hathoda and if you put that hathoda on a big crystal, then it gets distorted and it gets broken into small pieces. So ionic crystals are hard and brittle. As I said, they are distorted or fractured and have high melting point. So this was the figure that I wanted to show you. The next type of crystal is the covalent crystal or a covalent solid. In this case, the lattice points are occupied by atoms. You all know what are lattice points. I showed you. In the previous crystal, the lattice points were occupied by the cations or anions. In this case, the lattice points will be occupied by atoms. Here, the example that I have showed you is diamond, graphite, and fullerene. And here the lattice points are all occupied by the carbon atoms. These, as they are occupied by carbon atoms, they are held together by covalent bonds. The bonding is very strong and hence they are very hard and they have a very high melting point. Now they are a poor conductor of heat and electricity. Now if you look at the crystal shapes of diamond, graphite and fullerene, when we talked of polymorphs, I told you that polymorphs are also called as allotropes, and allotropes of carbon are diamond, graphite and fullerene. Now here in this case, if you look, the carbon atom in diamond is sp3 hybridized. The carbon atom in diamond is sp3 hybridized and having a bond angle of 109 degrees 28 seconds. In graphite, the bond angle, this is the sp2 hybridized carbon atom and the bond angle is 120. Even in fullerene, this carbon atom is also sp2 hybridized. Now I am just showing you the difference between the diamond and the graphite, and this is fullerene. If you look at this, a diamond is sp3 hybridized, then graphite is sp2 hybridized like this, and fullerene, here I've written it is sp2 hybridized carbon. Okay, now these are the different crystal forms. In diamond, diamond is strong hard due to its strong covalent bonding. It's the hardest material having a melting point of 3350. It's a precious crystal and it is used in jewelry. It is one of the allotropes of carbon. Now coming to graphite, as I told you, it is sp2 hybridized carbons and it forms a ring. It's a hexagonal ring and these are interconnected. These rings are connected with each other and they form layers, results in the formation of interlinked six-membered rings. Now, as it is sp2 hybridized, the pz orbital of this carbon is free and the pz orbital is free of this carbon also. If you look at this carbon and if you look at this carbon, the pz orbitals are free. So these pz orbitals form pi bonds. So in between the layers of two uh, networking of carbon rings are the pi bonds. So the pi bonds are here, the pi bonds are here. This is how the pi bonds are formed. Okay, so if you look at the graphite, because of the delocalized electrons, it is a good conductor of electricity, and the delocalized electrons are because of the formation of pi orbitals. And the last is the layers of graphite can slide over one another. If you look at this diagram, these are the layers of graphite and they can easily slide over one another. Now, as they can easily slide over one another, the example of graphite is in your lead pencils. आप अच्छे से उसको छील सकते हो. And as they can slide over one another, they are also used in machines where they have to lower the friction. As a lubricant, graphite is used. Now coming to fullerene. Now this fullerene is also called as a bug ball because it looks like a ball, a food ball, and it is also called as the Buckminster fullerene because it was identified or found out by him. The formula for this is C60. That means in this ball we have 60 carbon atoms and they are networked in such a way that it forms a ball. But the ball is hollow from inside. And when the networking takes place, the networking of these carbon atoms is either in the form of pentagon or it is in the form of a hexagon. So these networking carbon rings can form a pentagon or they can form a hexagon. Now, the compound with potassium, carbon forms a compound with potassium to give K35C60. They are superconductors of electricity and they are used as superconductors. Now, fullerene is also used in nanotubes, which are made. These nanotubes are used as high strength material, electrical conductors, in electrical conductors and in molecular sensors. So nanotubes are used nowadays and these nanotubes are prepared from fullerene. Now you'll think that it's very difficult to prepare a fullerene. Let me give you an example. आप घर में जब कापूर जलाते हो तो उसकी जो black fumes होती हैं, that is nothing but fullerene. So if you take a purified camphor and if you heat it, the black soot that you get is fullerene. And this fullerene, if you see under that soot, if you see under a microscope, you'll find the structure like this. So that was about diamond graphite and fullerene, the covalent crystalline solids. Now, next comes the metallic crystal. Now, in this, the lattice points are occupied by metal atoms. Here, the lattice points are occupied by metal atoms. For example, copper. So, ये cube है, ये lattice है. So, this is copper, this is copper, this is copper, this is copper, copper, and copper. If it is gold, it will be gold, gold, and gold. And they are held together by metallic bonds. We have discussed metallic bonds previous also. They can be soft to hard depending on which metal forms the crystal. And if they are soft, they'll have a low melting point. If they are hard, they'll have a high melting point. These are good conductors of heat and electricity. Now, why are they good conductors of heat and electricity? Let us see. Now, in this crystal structure, this is a copper metal, this is a copper metal, nucleus of copper metal, and copper metal. And then surrounding this nucleus are all the electrons. Surrounding this nucleus are the electrons. Now, because of this, it seems that the positive charges are mobile in the sea of electrons. These are all the gray part looks like a sea of electrons. And because of this, metallic crystals are good conductors of electricity. Now, the next type is the molecular crystals or molecular solids. Now, in molecular solids, the lattice points are occupied by molecules. Now, if you look at the crystalline solid, the ionic solid, the lattice points were occupied by cations and anions. Then we came across the covalent solids. They were occupied by atoms. If we looked at the metallic solids, the lattice points were occupied by metals. And in molecular solids, the lattice points are occupied by molecules. Molecules means अगर ice एक solid है तो वो जो solid है उसके lattice point में क्या होगा? H2O molecule होगा. Now they are held together by intermolecular forces. They are soft and they have a low melting point, poor conductors of heat and electricity. So these are the different types of molecular solids. The three main types are the polar molecular solids, then comes as the non-polar molecular solids, and then the hydrogen bonded molecular solids. Now first I'll show you the pictures and so that it becomes very clear to you. The first one is the polar molecular solids and the examples being HCl and CO2. आपने 11th में जब intermolecular forces किए थे dipole induced, तो आपने example देखा था HCl का. Now if you look at HCl, then HCl because chlorine being electromagnetic, um, chlorine being electronegative, it will pull the pair of electrons towards shared pair of electrons towards itself, and it will be slightly negatively charged, and this will be slightly positively charged. Because of this, a dipole is induced, and then the attraction between them is the dipole-dipole attraction. Now, if you look at the polar molecular solids, they possess permanent dipole moment. As I showed, HCl may they have a permanent dipole moment, because if this is chlorine, then chlorine is electronegative and it will pull the shared pair of electrons towards itself, and it will have a permanent dipole. So HCl will have a permanent dipole. Now, when this HCl is having a permanent dipole, the molecules in the solids are held together by a strong dipole-dipole interaction. So, if you bring the HCl molecules close together, decrease the temperature, the solid of HCl will be formed, and the HCl molecules will be held together by dipole-dipole interaction. Another example is SO2. So, have you understood the polar molecular solids? Okay. Now, this is a polar solid. Here I have written water is represented by red, black ovals. The polar molecular solids by gray, white ovals. The dashed lines represents the electrostatic attraction. So, here I have shown this as HCl, but this is a HCl, and that is water. So, dipole-dipole interactions. Now coming to the non-polar molecular solids. Now non-polar molecular solids, they comprise of either atoms, for example, argon and helium, or the molecules formed by the non-polar covalent bonds, for example, hydrogen, chlorine, and iodine. Now hydrogen at very low temperatures will give you a non-polar molecular solid. Even chlorine will give you a non-polar molecular solid. And in these solids, the atoms or the molecules are held together by the weak dispersion forces or the London forces. So this is a crystalline structure of iodine, and this is the dispersion forces or the London forces which are holding together the two molecules of either iodine, chlorine, or hydrogen. Now, here if you look, the non-polar molecular solids are formed by weak dispersion forces or London forces. And the examples that I have shown you is carbon dioxide, H2, Cl2, CH4, and R2. Out of that, here this is a crystalline structure of iodine. Now the non-polar molecular solid के दूसरे examples थे carbon dioxide. So on the lattice point you will have a molecule of carbon dioxide. On the lattice point you will have a molecule of carbon dioxide. Here also iodine, on the lattice point you will have a molecule of iodine. On the lattice point you will have a molecule of iodine. Okay, so these are the examples of non-polar molecular solids. Now the next is the hydrogen bonded molecular solids formed by hydrogen bonding. These are the hydrogen bonded molecular solids formed by hydrogen bonding. Example है H2O and ammonia. Now let us look at the figures of this hydrogen bonded molecular solid. So this is water molecule. The red ball is the oxygen atom, and the yellow ball are the yellow ball is the hydrogen atom. The molecules of such solid contain polar covalent bonds between hydrogen, fluorine, oxygen, or nitrogen atom. And strong hydrogen bonding binds the molecules of such solids like H2O, that is ice. They are non-conductors of electricity, and generally they are volatile liquids or soft solids under room temperature and pressure. Now these are the properties, and these are the multiple choice questions, and these are the questions, this assignment you have to do in your copy, and you have to submit it, either submit, okay, and then we meet for the next part. We will do different types of crystals.